From growing up an orphan to conquering nations, Kuvira was one of Team Avatar's most dangerous foes. But how did this master metalbender eventually redeem herself? Well, get ready to find out. This is Kuvira's complete timeline in the Legend of Korra. By her own admission, the future military leader claimed that she was a wild and arrogant child. Born and raised in the Earth Kingdom, other than strictly punishing her, Kuvira's mother and father did little in terms of hands-on parenting. Due to the constant disciplining, Kuvira developed her bending talents by lashing out. Eventually, the earthbending prodigy injured her mother during an outburst, and that was the last straw. Kuvira's parents arranged for her to be adopted by a metalbender strong enough to handle her behavior. Waiting at the gates of Zaofu was a former wild child herself, Suyin Beifong. Despite a warm reception, the fact that Kuvira's parents cast her aside would forever haunt her. Remaining difficult, the new family member didn't get along with her siblings. Showing early signs of trouble, Kuvira at one point destroyed her adopted sister Opal's dollhouse with a terrifying display of metal bending. Suyin often tried to intervene, but this pattern of behavior persisted throughout Kuvira's entire childhood. Arguably, Kuvira's fear and vulnerability during this time was the prime catalyst for her violent future. Suyin nevertheless raised her adopted daughter like her own, and Kuvira grew out of her wild child phase. The talented metalbender then began performing in Zaofu's dance troupes, which honed her abilities even further. Kuvira was also discovered to be a natural leader. Quickly rising through the ranks, she became captain of the city's guard. Not long after, Kuvira met Team Avatar and fought by their side against the Red Lotus. Following a fight in which Kuvira saved the life of Korra's father, we saw a rare glimpse of her compassionate side.
I owe you my life. Thank you, Captain.
You can call me Kuvira.
Soon, the Red Lotus was defeated. When Suyin was approached with an offer to reunite the Earth Kingdom, however, she refused. This decision was the start of a rift with Kuvira, who argued that Zaofu's progressive ideals should be spread far and wide.
If you leave now, you will never be welcomed back.
When I choose to return, it'll be on my own terms.
Drawing a line in the sand, Kuvira left with a small army to make peace in Ba Sing Se. Defying the odds, she was successful. Gaining the trust of world powers, Kuvira was then appointed the de facto leader of the Earth Kingdom, with her soon-to-be fiancé and Suyin's son, Baatar Jr., as second in command. The Great Uniter, as Kuvira was named, then assembled a massive army to enforce her rule. For their allegiance, the Great Uniter offered supplies and protection to Earth Kingdom states, which she was glad to personally dole out herself. While most leaders initially turned her away, the daily threat of bandits looting food supplies allowed Kuvira to take over the Earth Kingdom.
I pledge my loyalty to you, Great Uniter.
Soon, Kuvira arrived in Republic City and denounced the rule of the new Earth King. Appointing herself the leader, the Great Uniter informed the public that she was building a new Earth Empire.
Anyone who crosses our borders or stands in our way will be crushed.
Kuvira planned to make good on her promise and secretly tasked the genius inventor Varric to develop a weapon powered by spirit vine energy.
From now on, developing this technology is your #1 priority.
This is going to change everything.
Kuvira then mobilized her army to take control of the last unoccupied territory, her home of Zaofu. Avatar Korra soon arrived, and while she tried to negotiate peacefully, a failed kidnapping attempt by Suyin complicated things. Unafraid, Kuvira challenged Korra to a one-on-one duel for the fate of Zaofu. Reluctantly, she accepted. When the fight began, the Avatar used every element at her disposal. On paper, Kuvira was at a disadvantage, but she kept the upper hand with quick changes between earth and metal attacks. While Korra was clearly strong enough to defeat Kuvira in the Avatar state, she refused to deliver a killing blow.
I knew you were weak.
Fortunately, Jinora and Opal were close by, and as they narrowly escaped, Kuvira proclaimed her victory.
Zaofu is ours!
Once inside the city, Kuvira ordered the citizens to kneel before her. Most complied, but her family refused, and in response, Baatar Jr. had a public temper tantrum.
Bow to her! Do it! She is your rightful leader!
After Varric and Bolin escaped Kuvira's capture, she tasked Baatar Jr. and Zhu Li to pick up where they left off on her new superweapon.
This area is overrun with spirit vines, and they appear to be even more powerful than the samples we took from Republic City.
Perfect. Harvest these vines until there's nothing left.
A few weeks later, Kuvira traveled to the factory where a giant spirit energy cannon was being assembled. When the weapon malfunctioned, Kuvira was immediately suspicious of Zhu Li and discovered she was a double agent.
You swore your loyalty to me, and I gave you a chance at greatness. This is how you repay me?
You're a monster. I regret nothing.
The alarm signaling Team BEIFONG'S prison break sounded only moments later. Upon being freed and beyond disappointed, Su Yin then launched a deadly assault upon Kuvira. Although they fought hard, Team BEIFONG was cornered and nearly defeated before Toph showed up.
You give metalbenders a bad name!
Now possessing an operational superweapon, Kuvira informed her troops about their next target.
This land belongs to the people of the Earth Empire, and it's time to take it back. Republic City will be ours!
Upon arriving in Republic City, Kuvira brushed aside the president's threats, and in a matter of seconds, sank the United Forces Navy to prove her point.
I have no choice.
Time's up.
Stop! We surrender. Republic City is yours.
While Kuvira was stationed behind the impenetrable walls of her mecha suit, Team Avatar realized Baatar Jr. was vulnerable in an airship flying above the city. With a stealth group of airbenders, Team Avatar kidnapped Baatar Jr. and attempted to use him as leverage to stop the mecha suit. Kuvira took the opportunity, however, to let her fiancé know their engagement was off.
Guys, she must have our location. She's pointing that weapon right at us.
No, she wouldn't!
Everyone out! Now! Now!
Miraculously surviving, Team Avatar then launched attack after attack with zero effect. It wasn't until Hiroshi Sato sacrificed his life that Team Avatar was able to penetrate the platinum exterior of Kuvira's mecha suit.
Initiate lockdown. Find the Avatar and whoever else is with her.
Sensing that Su Yin and Lin successfully disabled the Spirit Vine cannon, Kuvira violently tossed the arm free, but was caught off guard by Korra. The two master benders then began the rematch of their lives. While Korra was back at her full strength, Kuvira was still the superior metal bender, and she was equipped with a whole room filled with ammo. If Mako and Bolin hadn't destroyed the engine room of the mecha suit, the once great uniter might not have lost this fight. When the dust settled, Korra carried out an unconscious Kuvira from the wreckage.
It's over. You're gonna call off your army and surrender to President Raiko. Then you and...
Injured but refusing to surrender, Kuvira fled into the nearby spirit wilds, desperate to make one last move.
If you really want to end it, then come and get me! Now it's over.
Don't!
The spirit energy cannon began to interact with the surrounding vines and was overloaded with power. Kuvira tried to shut it down manually, but the weapon was already out of control. Fortunately, the Avatar was close by, and she selflessly deflected the weapon. The redirected energy then opened a portal into the spirit world where Kuvira and Korra were transported. The now fragile-looking commander of the Earth Empire was immediately confused why Korra would have saved her.
You don't understand anything about me.
I do. Sue told me how she took you in when you were younger. It must have been so hard being an orphan.
Don't pretend you know what it felt like.
Korra admitted to Kuvira that she lived in fear and would have done anything to regain control after being poisoned by the Red Lotus. As the two connected for the first time, there was a change in Kuvira as she realized that even someone as strong as an Avatar can still feel afraid. Supported by Korra, Kuvira walked back to Republic City and surrendered with dignity.
Stand down. This battle is over. I owe the Avatar my life. Her power is beyond anything I could ever hope to achieve.
The former Great Uniter accepted her shackles and meekly apologized before being taken to prison. Sometime later, Kuvira was put on trial for what could only be a very long list of crimes. When asked for her plea, the former Great Uniter claimed her numerous apologies and positive achievements were enough to satisfy her punishment. With the judges at their wits' end, they asked again for Kuvira's plea, to which she replied, not guilty. What exactly was Kuvira thinking here? Even in the best-case scenario, she hurt thousands of people. As the courtroom was dismissed, Su-Yin lashed out at her adopted daughter for not accepting responsibility. Remaining stoic, the Master Metalbender returned to solitary confinement, chained to the unbendable platinum of her prison cell. Kuvira then waited for months, reliving past trauma in her mind over and over again without a single visitor. If you forget the horrible things she's done, you could almost feel sorry for her. It just so happened, however, that a rebel group of Earth Empire soldiers still refused to surrender to the United Forces. Not long after, Kuvira received her first visitor when Avatar Korra asked for information on the rebels. As it turned out, their leader Guan was previously under the command of Kuvira, and Team Avatar realized she could help keep negotiations peaceful. Korra then secured release papers, and with an eerie smile, Kuvira entered into Team Avatar's custody. Upon arriving in the state of Gaoling and actually speaking with Guan, Kuvira quickly decided against peaceful negotiations. Smartly planning ahead, Asami knocked out the Metalbender via remote shock. A breathless Guan then promised to take power with a fair election instead of a fight, and Team Avatar was left to formulate a new plan. It was decided that Korra asked for help from Toph, but as soon as she left, Guan's forces ambushed the other members of Team Avatar. If Kuvira hadn't overreacted earlier, Bolin, Mako, and Asami might have stood a fighting chance. Instead, the rebels won and captured them. Upon returning to Gaoling, Kuvira was then forced to witness the effect of Guan's strange new weapon on her uneasy allies. Influenced by the techniques of the Dai Li secret police, the Earth Empire rebels had developed an irreversible brainwashing machine. With the flick of a switch, Bolin, Mako, and Asami were now sworn enemies of the Avatar. Terrified but maintaining her composure, Kuvira saw an opportunity and broke free. The Metalbender then single-handedly brought down a building on top of Guan and escaped his compound. At this point, Kuvira could have easily gone into hiding and avoided spending her life in prison. Taking responsibility for her actions, however, the former child of Zaofu made the toughest call of her life. Swallowing her pride, Kuvira contacted her adopted mother for help. Soon after, Kuvira tracked down Korra and let her know about her friends being captured. With Toph present to confirm the truth, Su-Yin arrived just as Guan's forces prepared to attack with the brainwashed members of Team Avatar. Kuvira fought back and helped save Asami, but with no way to reverse the brainwashing, she was still as much of an enemy as Guan. Determined to find a solution, Kuvira called the one person who could reverse engineer a cure, the ex-fiancé who she nearly killed. Sorry, Kuvira, you set yourself up for a challenge with this one. While neither enjoyed the reunion, Baatar Jr. eventually agreed to help for the greater good. Using her near photographic memory, Kuvira described Guan's brainwashing machine in enough detail that Baatar Jr. could build one himself. Soon, Asami's brainwashing was reversed, and after a brief moment of reconciliation with Baatar Jr., Kuvira launched a one-woman mission to stop Guan. Expertly remaining undetected, Kuvira snuck into Guan's office and brokered a deal to rejoin the Earth Empire if she allowed herself to be brainwashed. Here we see Guan might not be the military mastermind he claimed to be, as Kuvira easily bent the machine into scrap metal before he turned it on. Now living up to her former name, the Great Uniter fought off Bolin, Mako, and the rest of the rebel forces alone before reinforcements arrived. Upon catching up to Guan and recognizing the change in herself, Kuvira walked away before ending his life. The Earth Empire prisoners got their brainwashing cured, and with the crisis in Gaoling over, Kuvira willingly returned to her cell. At her follow-up trial, she made a new plea to the court confessing to all of her crimes, and for the first time gave a heartfelt apology. Outside the courtroom, Team Avatar expressed their newfound respect for the former dictator. Upon witnessing the positive change in her adopted daughter, Su-Yin convinced the court to release Kuvira into her custody. Technically, she was still under house arrest, but after many years apart, Kuvira was finally able to go home. As far as what the future holds for this unlikely hero and all the adventures ahead, that's all we know for now. From being a metal-bending prodigy to a de facto leader of the Earth Kingdom and ultimately learning how to face her demons. Which of KUVIRA'S decisions do you think had the most impact on her journey? Comment below and keep watching for more of your favorite Legend of Korra moments.